High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry. And we are live from LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. I think I got them all. What's up, Layla? It's Revening's Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday, Revenue Party people. We've got our hot topics and our hot guests that we're going to be getting it right into. But you know the drill. We've got Layla here helping in the background. Thank goodness for Cherry Assistant for helping me be able to delegate and find the right talent around the world who's able to help me with the skills that I need to scale Revening. And right now, Revening, I know I'm posting a lot about the retreat, but really our moneymaker is our live streaming services. We're helping businesses go live on LinkedIn,
Hey Jesse, if you can hear me, we're struggling to hear you a bit. Hi everyone, I'm from Cherry Assist. Delegate now. Nope, still can't hear you. Yep, nope, still nothing.
Can you hear me now?
Here we go, Jess is back.
Okay, the good old sure microphone. Let's see. Are we still able to? No, we can't bring up the other camera. Boo, but that's okay. We'll make do. Here we go. We'll get the other camera going. Anyway, technical errors. That doesn't normally happen on Wednesday, but thank goodness for Cherry Assistant to be here to poke in, Layla. I really appreciate your help here. DJ's like, let's go. Excited for some talk around customer-driven growth. Yes. So, you know what? Errors happen, and we're learning that firsthand as we're growing here at Revening. So we'll just go with the old-fashioned camera. But anyway, we want to hear from you all and what you would use a VA for. So would you work with someone for like an executive assistant? what skill set might you be seeking? Like right now is a good time to just think about it. Like maybe you weren't thinking about it before, but man, it's great to think about if I could just delegate that one thing that's taking all that time, like bookkeeping, whatever it is. You'll see the menu of services during the intermission. But we want to tell you about High Level as well. So High Level, we are white labeling as app.reveting.com, but it's a CRM and marketing automation platform. And we give all of our clients login access. This allows us, when we're creating their podcast and live stream, booking guests for them, to create calendars and customize those for them so guests can book. We're booking the right people. They are like beautiful and branded. And then we capture leads in the CRM for them. Since we're a marketing agency, we want to be able to show the leads in their CRM with all of the people we're putting them in touch with. So High Level helps us do that. And you might want to try it too. So use the QR code if you're watching on video. Otherwise, go to reveting.com/high level and try it out. There's no need to like spend thousands of dollars on big SaaS anymore. But anyway, without further ado, with all my technical difficulties, let's let other people talk. Welcome to the show, AP and Dan, old fans to the show. So great to have you here.
Good evening, everyone.
Very often we can usually find both of you in the comment section on WinsDay. So it's really great to have you on this side of the screen. And AP, you're even in my area, Columbus. So we've been hanging out, which has been awesome. But AP, why don't you kick us off? Could you tell us, you know the drill, your full life story from birth to what brought you to now in 2 minutes?
All right, sounds good. Let's get on the show, right? So, New Yorker turned Floridian, right? Turned now traveling nomad, apparently, since we've been traveling for a hot minute now. My main day job, my main gig is being a co-founder of King of the Curve. We're an ed tech company, been around for about 5 years now. And with that, I've had the opportunity of working with pre-meds all across the country, and with my two brilliant co-founders, Steve Rutledge and William Kelly, as well as our illustrious team as well, to be able to build not just an app, but a budding ecosystem that allows for us to be able to help students to go from their current academic performance to their dream school to wherever they want to go. And it's been a real good sight to see, right? And also, as well, the endeavors being on Forbes 3 under 30, that was a thing, right? I just got on for that back in December 2024, and I got to attend the conference with my co-founders just this September, actually. So just last week, actually. So what you basically can do, you can find me around LinkedIn. Love to be able to, walk some nature trails, like to write, love to journal, love to listen to music. And I'm a nerd. I'm an anime nerd. Kind of what I do. So yeah, that's pretty much the tea, y'all.
Amazing. He's spilling tea. Well, I got my other camera going again. Isn't that exciting? So thanks for introducing yourself, AP. So glad to have you here. And you undercut yourself. I mean, you are so impressive. Forbes 30 under 30. I mean, when Whiskey Wednesday first started, let's talk about where you were. I mean, you were like trying to find an SDR role.
That is true. I was
Like
trying to
entry
find
level,
an
you're like,
SDR
I'm out of
role.
college and I see this Whiskey Wednesday on LinkedIn. I'm gonna hang out because of the pandemic and I'm fucking bored, pardon my French.
We were
But
bored.
yeah, you're like, I'm gonna learn about sales and marketing and I'm gonna go become an SDR. And then you had this company and it got funding, and then you guys really like knocked it out of the park and landed on Forbes 30 under 30. That's impressive.
Yep.
Bravo. And that's why you're in Columbus, to collect that award. Yay. Everyone, like, give AP a big congratulations. It's been so fun to like see him grow so fast in like 3 years, just being here around in the community. And also with helping Reveting. I mean, you've been a big ally to us in our community. And also just like joining our sales trainings and letting people know like your experience in the coaching program. That's been highly valuable. And I just really appreciate you, AP. So thanks for being here. And then Dan, same. We met here on LinkedIn in the comments of the Whiskey Wednesday show. And have you been on Whiskey Wednesday?
I have not been on it. I've won a
Wow.
prize.
You've
I've
been
been
on
in
my
the
clients'
comments,
shows, but you
but
haven't
I've
been
never
on
won
this
it.
one.
And I do take the whiskey part seriously. So,
And I'm drinking wine because you mentioned whiskey. So cheers to you, Dan. Could you please fill up the 2 minutes
I
and
can.
your full life story from birth to what brought you to WinsDay tonight?
So it probably will not surprise anyone that I am not on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. But I am coming to you from Long Island, New York. I was born, bred, raised, and still reside here. with my wife. I've got 2 adult daughters, and I've got 2 adult stepsons, and we've got a rescue dog who's awesome, half hound, half healer. And that ties into what I'm doing with my life now. So I spent about 35 years in corporate B2B, working my way up from sales to sales management, sales leadership, and spent the last 10 or 12 years as the VP of National Sales and Marketing for a division of Canon. Loved it, had a great team. We had all kinds of success. We had all kinds of defeats and everything in between. Loved talking about sales. But I think, like a lot of people during the pandemic, I got very introspective and thought about what I wanted to do next, and actually ended up retiring from corporate in January of 2024, a few years earlier than originally planned. And I want to spend more time doing some of the other things I love, spend time with family. I love photography. We like to get out and do some hiking and traveling. I'm volunteering at a dog rescue, an animal rescue place a few times a week. So really diving into all that. It's awesome. But I also knew I wanted to start something up. So I launched Philanthropy Fuel back in August of 2024, really thinking I'd be teaching business development skills to fundraising and development teams, because there are so many parallels between those 2 sectors, both good and bad. But mostly what I've kind of morphed into is helping small nonprofit, kind of grassroots nonprofits, forge better corporate relationships. And it all comes down to the stuff we're going to talk about today in terms of customer-driven growth. I don't care if you're talking about a customer or a donor. It's all the same as far as building trust, building relationships, building advocacy. So I was really pumped about the topics tonight. I'm really excited to be on here with AP. I still stay plugged into the sales world because it's still part of what I do, and looking forward to tonight.
I'm looking forward to it too. This is going to be a great discussion. So thank you both for sharing your full life story. And it's just good to hear that. And Dan, you were such a perfect fit on the Cherry Willow apparel for with purpose episode. So that's the episode I think of you on. And man, that one just drove a lot of engagement, a lot of purpose, and it was in alignment because of the work you do in the nonprofit sector. So, thank you for what you're doing there. And if you want to take a moment to share any more about that, we'd love to hear.
Oh, Cherry Will is great. You had Matt on. He's just unbelievable. I'm actually an affiliate partner of theirs. So they're, part social enterprise, part nonprofit, and they are using wearable apparel. So they're teaming up with other nonprofits to, to kind of get the messaging out there. They are focused on ending homelessness, and they've got some great ideas. And so I've been able to help them through my contacts team up with 3 or 4 different nonprofits, and they launch kind of limited edition hoodies and T-shirts and things like that for those nonprofits. They split the revenue, and it's going towards both, again, the homeless cause and whatever these nonprofits are, their mission is. I've been trying to get them some corporate partnerships as well. So they're just really good people. It's the kind of people I like working with, and I've been lucky now. It's place I am in my life, I can kind of choose who I work with, like which nonprofits, which organizations, and I've been leaning towards those where the missions are kind of near and dear to my heart. So it's just been it's been great.
Love it. And just for the record, anyone listening, Cherry Willow, they do apparel, and the part of the apparel goes to support homelessness. So it's apparel with purpose. Anyway, yeah, we do love Cherry Willow apparel, but let's get into the first topic. Drum roll, please. Beyond the funnel, customer-driven growth strategies. So, AP, is this your topic?
I actually have no idea, but we'll kick it off. Let's rock and roll. All right, so beyond the funnel, customer-driven growth strategies. All right, let's think about this, right? It's 2025, people. We're in the age of AI slop. We're in the age, and even before the age of AI slop, we were in the age of sellers and marketers, barraging the general public with irrelevant emails, thesis-like emails, and phone calls that are like, click. Who is this? I have no idea who this person is, right? What we are seeing now over the last couple of years, and even now, is that there is a need more than ever for timely communication with customers, right? There is a need now to actually deliver relevant information to people at precise points in the buyer journey. It's not enough to spray and pray anymore. It is not enough to get an email list of 1,000 clients and go, all right, email all these people. Someone's going to have to buy it eventually. Or again, just go down the list and do a cold call situation without doing anything to make it relevant to what their needs are, what their problems are, right? So when thinking about this topic, my brain is going, right? If we want to reach our customers, right? If we want to see customer growth happen, we need to target people precisely at various points in the journey, right? And I think, and Jesse, you're a CMO of marketing, right? I think this is where, having a powerful marketing presence for your brand, I don't care how small your business is, it needs to have a brand, really does help, right? Because as you are working on building said brand, as you let people know who you are, what you're about, what you're building, and why, right? And you work to build that brand, people are going to be like, oh, the right people start coming into your orbit. The right people go, huh, I should pay attention. I should sit up and take notice of what these people are doing here. So less spray and pray, less slop, more targeted, timely engagement.
Yes, more human marketing. I liked that you brought in branding into that whole equation. Don't mind my lip gloss. My lip gloss is popping and I got it, with my daughter. It was sitting here. I couldn't help myself. But anyway, yeah, no, I love that you brought in the branding part, obviously, because that's what I help with. And I agree, like in terms of where we are now, it's like AI, everything's so AI. And I was just talking about this in our newsletter, actually. If you're not subscribed, go to riveting.com/newsletter. But yeah, no, there's lots of news articles out about that too. Is like, that's one reason live streaming works and podcasting works and LinkedIn works is because people connect with people more than they connect with brands. So people need to humanize their brand. There's a trust pandemic. But Dan, I'd love to hear your take on this.
Yeah, listen, I love what AP said. No more spray and pray. I used to hate that. I hated that as a sales leader. I hated it as a recipient. We've all gotten the wonderful, dreaded dear first name, and the automation didn't work, right? And that's just, oh yeah, this was real personal. But if you think about it, it's beyond the funnel, right? So
Yeah.
you need to have a pipeline. Of course you do. So salespeople need to have a pipeline. Fundraisers need to have a pipeline. But to me, a funnel, the interesting thing is the old funnel mindset. It assumes a linear buyer journey, and that's just not the case anymore. Buyers are fluid, nonlinear. They're deeply informed. There's committees. There's different decision makers. So I really think customer-driven growth, which is what we're talking about, happens when we shift from kind of, I don't know, how do we convert them? How do we persuade them? How do we sell them? And shift it to how do we serve them? How do we co-create with them? Which means the post-sale experience is just as critical to growth as acquisition. So I remember, in terms of how we grew when I was at Canon, our top 25 clients, like a lot of companies, represent 80% of our revenue, but they didn't come in like that. Most of them weren't mega deals to start. It was earning their trust, staying close to them, putting in place, what you could call either listening loops or feedback loops, formal, so that you're constantly learning what's important to them. My best sales used to love when they would just sit down with a client and say, what's on your plate for 2026? Forget us. Forget our suite of services. That's not, just tell us what's on your plate. And they'd go through this whole thing. There's a bunch of stuff that didn't pertain to us. Maybe we could introduce them to some people, but there's always that little thing that they say, well, this is a big challenge. And we talked about, okay, we can help you there. It's not exactly what we do, but let's build something together. And that's both how we grew our clients, but also how we grew our service offerings through our clients, because we created what they needed. So that to me is what customer-driven growth strategy is all about. Not pushing out your sequence of services, but listening to what they really need and being flexible about it.
Yes, exactly. I'm so glad you said that. Not pushing out your sequence of services. Like, do not feature dump me, please. I don't want to hear this is what I'll do. This is what I'll do. This is what you'll get. People buy for emotional reasons, so they have to feel that pain of, whatever it is that you're trying to, sell and what they don't have. Like, why do they need it? And, what's life going to be like with it? What's life going to be like without it? How does that impact them? How does that impact their family? Pulling in the emotion into it to just really help drive this. But what's your take on all that, AP? And I guess, this sort of wraps up the topic too.
I mean, my take is, Dan, I'm so glad you brought this up, right? The power of the post-sale experience, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us have been trained to think about, okay, let's just inform them, let's persuade them, let's have an educated conversation with them, right? And let's get them to sign the contract. Cool, awesome. But, right, it's one thing to acquire a customer, right? Another thing entirely to keep a customer, right? And it's another thing entirely to give such good service to a customer that not only they're staying with you, but they're evangelizing for you. They're telling their friends about you. They're telling their family about you. Like, hey, I know this awesome business I'm working with. I've been with them for like 2 years. You really should check them out. When they're doing their sales and your marketing and your sales for you because they're not bought in, you've done something right. Keep that up.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're talking about that later on, AP, in terms of customer advocacy. I just think, I don't want to jump ahead, but corporations and nonprofits do a horrible job of making it easier for customers, donors, supporters to advocate for them. And I think that, it's not just sit back and hope it happens. It's help them to do that for you. So I know we'll talk about that a little later, but yeah, I think this is just so great. I'm still laughing about the whole spray and pray because you just see it so much. I'm not impressed that you were able to scrape my LinkedIn profile and know that I'm a Penn Stater and throw that into the first line of an email and then just shift gears to what you're selling me. And also don't do that on the Monday morning, which just happened recently after we just lost in one of the biggest upsets in college football history. And I'm still hurting. Not good time.
Yeah, research Dan well enough that his real pain, and that's that his team didn't win. And that's what he really wants to talk about. So if you want to talk to Dan, you got to do your homework, because other brands your competitors they're pulling all sorts of data on your clients. Like we have a client, BDEX, they have data, 5,000 segments of that you can pull on your audience, just literally completely understanding behaviors, trends. There's so much research you can do now to understand your audience. And I find when you need to spray and pray, it's because you don't know your audience. You don't understand your ICP. But I digress. Let's go into topic 2. What do you all say? I want to hear from the audience. It looks like we've got 4 of you on LinkedIn. How many? Or no, not LinkedIn. I'm looking at YouTube. How many of you are out there? Put something in there. Just say hi. Tell us what you think. Should we use more AI or use less AI? Everyone in the comments, please give us an answer on that and why. Do you embrace AI? Do you not embrace AI? Do you want to see more of it? Do you want to see less of it? Do you want to see more live streams? What could make this live stream better? Ask us a question that you want to learn with sales and marketing. And in the meantime, we're getting to topic 2. Cheers, Dan. AP, what you drinking over there? We muted you because you had all that background noise.
Nothing. I'm drinking air right now.
You need to get yourself a drink, sir.
I will drink something later.
Well, you're at a coffee shop, so you need some caffeine.
That is also true.
Anywho, topic 2, the trust delta. What so many get wrong. Okay, so as many of you know, I'm a co-host on Deconstructing Data, and we talk about marketing and advertising and AI and data. And it's primarily targeted to consumer marketers and growth experts. But the thing that consistently has come up over almost 200 episodes is that we have a trust pandemic. As you can all imagine, as marketers and advertisers, it's harder than ever to connect with your audience because people don't want to be advertised to anymore. And sometimes even just targeting them, they're weirded out that you even know it's them. You got to be super suave with your messaging and your targeting. But there's a trust delta, and that's why we need to humanize our brand, blah, blah, blah. I could go on, but Dan, kick us off on what so many get wrong here.
Yeah, the trust delta. I love it. So about a month ago, I was a facilitator on a LinkedIn Live for a community I'm part of called the Nonprofit Hive. And we were talking about just this issue, and it was just a great panel of experienced people. And what's really interesting is if we're honest with ourselves, I don't care if we're talking about sales, for-profit, nonprofit, doesn't matter. Most organizations think they're trustworthy, right? But if you ask their buyers, you get a very different story some of the time. And one of the things I love was this concept that trust is not a static asset. It's a renewable resource. So we overestimate how much trust we have, and we underestimate how often it needs to be earned again and renewed, refreshed. In both nonprofit, for-profit space, there's just this huge gap between internal perception and external experience. And I remember it from my days as just, like a sales manager, as reps would come back from appointments and I'd ask for a summary and they would just make so many assumptions about how well it went. But they didn't get that from the client. They got that from their own perceptions. They hadn't earned any trust. And if I'd go to a follow-up meeting, you'd still see a contact that was hesitant to share information. And that to me is the true test of trust. Are they willing to give you insights that they're not sharing with other people? And if you talk to leaders of any organization, a lot of them say, hey, we're doing great work. But then their buyers, their donors think, then why does it feel so hard, to engage with you? And an interesting point, I forget who said it, but, you can't message your way back to trust. It doesn't come from marketing glitz or marketing spin. It comes from how you communicate. It comes from how you show up consistently over time. And even when it's messy, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's got to be authentic. And the last thing I'll bring up here is internal trust. So if you think about how you treat frontline staff, salespeople, fundraisers, marketers, the people that are out there interacting with your customers and your prospects.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Sorry, just wanted to highlight this.
Huge impact on how your customers and prospects are going to trust you. And I think a lot of organizations don't realize that. They think their dirty laundry stays inside, but it doesn't. And here's what happens. If you've got, frontline staff that feel like they're not included, they're not valued, they're not supported, the culture is toxic, that negative energy is going to be felt by clients and prospects, and vice versa. If these people feel pumped up about the organization they work for and the leadership, and they feel that they're really a part of something, that energy is going to emanate out to their clients, their prospects, their communities, their partners, their donors, all the stuff. And that makes a huge, huge difference. So I encourage leaders to really think about what kind of tone you're setting for your frontline staff, because that is going to trickle all the way out to your customers and prospects. And, trust it's behind everything I talk about. Back in the sales days, the deals we did some mega deals that took over a year that were, $100 million deals. That doesn't happen without intense trust and getting information that other vendors weren't getting, because we took the time to learn what was important to them. I read somewhere, I wish, I'm getting old. I like to cite sources, but I can never remember them. So I apologize to whoever I'm not quoting here, but I'm trying. It was a great quote. It said, trust is the invisible infrastructure. You don't notice it until it collapses. And I think that's the really important thing. Trust is not a stage in the funnel. It's something you've got to do throughout. So I think it drives everything. What we were talking about earlier in terms of customer-driven growth strategies. When we talk about advocacy in a while, nobody's going to advocate for you if they don't trust you. So I think trust is critical. And I think if you couple that with time and attention and empathy, then you've set yourself up for success. And just to address, Jess, what you said before about AI, who's for it, who's against it. I was a big proponent in sales for AI. I am still a big proponent for it in nonprofit, but for two things. Number one, to give you back time, automate what can be automated. And number two, to give you deep insights and to use all that to actually be more human, right? To have better interactions, to know more about people and to spend more time speaking with them rather than being stuck on administrative tasks and things like that. So I think AI has its place, but it's not going to replace that trust building, because AI can't build trust, and it can't show empathy, and it can't connect on a human level and find out what's important to people. So I think trust is the basis of the infrastructure, the foundation for everything we do in business and in life.
Bingo. I completely agree.
Very deep there, but yes.
Yeah, like even in the most technical data, like you're going to have better data when you have a better culture, and you're going to have a better culture because of trust. And so it just comes down to authentic human communication, which then leads to like being vulnerable and reciprocity. And I don't know, what else would you share that helps you build trust with people? And I want to pass that over to AP, because we haven't heard from you in a second, and also let you kind of address the idea of this topic as well, AP.
Gotcha. All right. I think, Dan, thank you so much for talking about trust. I think one of the most powerful things that you said, right, was that idea of, number one, trust being a dynamic resource, number one. And number two is that idea that trust is not just about with you and customers. It's about how you treat your employees. If you treat your employees like shit, that is going to reverb back out to your customers. They're not gonna advocate for you outside the four walls of the office. They're going to be less motivated to do the work that is required, right, to help grow the business. So it is imperative, right, that you are not just focusing about how you're treating your customers, but how you're treating your employees. And I would say this, right, in terms of like, how do we build trust? How do we keep we think of trust like a fire. How do we keep it lit? How do we keep it aflame? I say do what you say. Do what you say you're gonna do. Right, consistently. Number one, and I'd also say number two, do right by people. Right. And I know it sounds so cliche. It sounds so basic. It's something like your mom or dad, somebody in your life told you when you were a kid, right? But I promise you, myself included, raise my hand here. I need reminders of the basic things in life. So sometimes it slips away from my head, right? So I say, do what you say we're going to do, and then also do right by people. I think in business, it can be very, and it's sad that it happens, but it can be very, and especially on culture too, it can be tempting, right? And employees will tempt you to try to take the easy way or take shortcuts or do things that maybe their boss is pressuring them to do that they should not be doing whatsoever, right? That, yeah, it might look like a win in the short term, but in the long term, you're about to blow your business up because you're doing something that's going to damage you that you should not be doing, right? So it really is about creating that culture internally and externally, and it really is about doing right by people. No one wants to be scammed, no one wants to be lied to, no one wants to be disrespected. So, I mean, the golden rule, right? Treat people how you want to be treated. It's not just in personal relationships, but also it's also good business too. So that's what I say to that.
Yeah, I love it. And Dan, we got to move on, but I just want to give you an opportunity to wrap up this topic because I could talk about trust all day because I totally agree. This is like the main thing you've got to get down, like both in sales, internally, like all the ways.
Yeah, it's really critical today. And I think if you look at the generations, so what I'll call the younger generation, they're younger to me. When you talk about millennials and Gen Z, I mean, they're all about trust, right? They're only going to work for companies and buy from companies that they trust. They're only going to work for companies and buy for companies that they think are truly advancing social good and making an impact, and doing the things that are important to them. And innately, they have a distrust of institutions. I mean, I've seen the reports. The government is first, but corporations aren't far behind. Nonprofits are distrusted more than you would think. So gaining that trust, and I think you said it early in kind of the intro, Jesse, we're in a lack of trust pandemic in a way. It's really tough these days. So one of my biggest advice, get a little messy. Don't try to make everything glitzy and marketing perfect. Like, show people, let people see behind the curtains, show them what's going on. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to tell them the challenges that they're going to face. When you're selling to someone, it's okay to tell them, no, the transition isn't going to be perfect. There'll be some messes, but here's the contingency plans we have in place for you. And we've done this before. So I think, a little bit of the less of the, just the kind of high level marketing, perfection, and a little bit more of reality, I think, is what makes a difference, especially to what like I said, I'll call the younger generations.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for bringing up this topic, Dan, and for talking on it so eloquently. I couldn't agree more. I know we have a few comments. So, Layla, if you wouldn't mind, could we bring those up? I know I saw one from Doug and DJ, as well as maybe Matt. But Doug says, leveraging and understanding the customer's voice, build on those authentic relationships in the layman's terms. Yes, leveraging and understanding the customer's voice. Speak in their language. Put yourself in their shoes. Like, imagine a day in the life of your customer. Who is your customer? What do they feel when they wake up? What do they worry about? Like, literally, think about all those things. Love that. Matt says, well said, Dan. Frontline employees are the face of the organization. I agree. And everything you were saying really can be applied internally. And Layla, please, like, I know she's in the background here producing. And we've had a conversation that, like, we're growing fast right now. So, like, I understand she's not going to be able to do everything that she once was for, like, everything. And that's okay. So let's just recognize it and let's just communicate about it and be vulnerable, and it's okay. And I think that, like, that hopefully helps build trust. But Layla, you can keep me honest. But then people don't feel like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble because I didn't do all my work. But, we can all step in and support each other if we're actually able to communicate about what's going on and all the different pains within it, why things are taking us so long. But yeah, great topic. Thank you so much for bringing it up. We have Erica says trust is key in any yes, personal, business, trust is key. Thank you, Erica, for mentioning that. What did DJ say? DJ said he answered my question. I think that we used. He said more thoughtful AI, less AI slop. Yeah.
There you go.
Take out the M dashes, take out the emojis, like make it sound human. I digress. And in the meantime, let's move into our third topic, but right after this brief message from Cherry Assistant.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now, he has a $50K per month business, fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM on Go High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
And if you're listening on podcast, we're showing a menu of services, including but not limited to lead generation, CRM management, prospecting assistance, sales presentation, preparation. We've got data entry and cleanup, customer support, and project management assistance. So if you are looking for help with delegating and you don't know where to start, just have a conversation with Cherry Assistant. I mean, like maybe you won't maybe you won't get started right away, but it's good to know the options you have out there to delegate. There are people around the world who want to help you and who are going to fit in your budget. I promise. So if you're listening on podcast, just go to cherryassistant.com. Let them know that you heard about them through WinsDay. Give us a quick plug. But yeah, check them out. And then, always want to make sure and send people to reveting.com/high level. I know there are so many CRM and marketing automation platforms. This is the one I've endorsed. So we use it internally. We also help our clients with it. So if you want an extended 30-day trial, try it out over here. Once you do get started, it's only $97 a month. It's built around AI. It's nimble. It's new. It's not like big SaaS. Anyway, I digress. If you want more information, let me know. Otherwise, just go to reveting.com/high level and try it out. But let's get into our third topic. AP, can you kick us off on this third topic? Reverse marketing. Let your best customers sell for you.
Y'all are seeing the arc here, right? How each of the other topics are building on each other. Now, here's Act 3, y'all. Reverse marketing. Letting your best customers sell for you. What does that mean, right? Think about the typical marketing funnel. What do businesses do? Small businesses, Fortune 500 companies, what do? We have our marketing team, or one person, sit there, create content, create copy, right? Create design assets, and put it out on billboards back in the day. And now social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, even LinkedIn too, right? To get customers feeling like, oh, what is that? What are they doing? I should check these guys out, actually, when I need X, Y, or Z done, right? That's the way we've been marketing for years, decades even, right? But when we think about reverse marketing, what we're talking about here is, after, right, we've done the work to cultivate customers that fit our ICP, right? After we turn these people from people that don't know about us whatsoever, people that don't trust us because we deliver quality service, we're doing what we're saying, what we're doing, and we're giving them a great post-sale experience, they're going out there and they're telling their friends, they're telling their partners, they're telling their business colleagues about what is happening, what the experience they're having with this brand that they're trusting, right? And they're spreading it all over them. Why is that? Because they feel so passionate about the brand. They enjoy the experience. They enjoy what it's like working with your employees to get that done, right? So, I mean, when you think about it, I sit there and I go, it's one of the things you should be doing. Reverse marketing, getting your best customers who really do endorse your brand and getting them to do it for you. Why? Because what's the alternative, right? You can go to Google Ads, go to YouTube ads, you could go to TikTok ads, you can go to any meta platform and advertise on there and spend hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on ad campaigns where you just get to bid against other people spending that much money too, right? In advertising dollars. And as a small business owner, I can say this myself, right? You don't always have luxury to spend that much money on advertising. So it's like making sure that you have a solid marketing play and including reverse marketing in your marketing strategy is a thing that you should be considering. All right. And again, that comes with having a quality product, that quality experience in the buyer journey, right? Not just before the sale or during the sale, but especially after the sale as well.
Yes, I love that, AP. Thank you for bringing up this topic. Um, and referral agreements. I'm a big fan of referral agreements these days. When you can incentivize your customers to send people to you, when you find you have a real evangelist who's ready to promote you, then get them commission, and that makes them think of you. I like to do recurring commission because then they stay involved and help you making sure it succeeds with our internal sellers at least. But like, yeah, definitely reverse marketing is great in so many ways. I love the way you broke it all down. I would just add referral agreements and incentivizing your customers, but then you learn about their business too. And remember, I mentioned reciprocity in terms of building trust. So if you can send clients to your customer just based from your like contact list, then you should do that too. But I digress. I would really like to hear what you say on reverse marketing, Dan.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, AP, you made so many good points. I mean, letting your customers sell for you is so huge. I mean, back in my sales days, I mean, as we grew accounts, a lot of times there were different decision makers in different functional areas. And who do you think was doing the selling for us? It was our original customer, right? But goes back to what we said before, they've got to trust you to do that. But if you look at what's going on today, advocacy is really the new advertising because people trust their peers more than, polished brand messages or like I said, marketing glitz coming out from organizations. But I think we've got to make it easier for our customers to be advocates. So, if you want them to advocate for you on social media, well, prepare the information for them, give them the stories, give them the information that they can share. If you want somebody to be an advocate, within their own organization or to their peers, again, prepare them for that, remind them of that. Don't just think it's going to happen naturally. And one of the things I think we could really do better is build communities for that. I'm not talking about big, gigantic, formal communities, but people want to be part of something. So if you want a really good customer, a really, rabid fan of yours to spread the word, well, invite them in with several other people that you want them to spread the word to. And whether that's, a dinner event, an online networking event, whatever it is, create that opportunity for them because it does two things. It allows them to advocate, but for them, they've got to get a benefit. So maybe the benefit for them is that they're building their network. They're feeling that they're part of something bigger than just themselves. So I think it's incumbent upon the organization to kind of grease the skids for that advocacy to take place. It's not just going to take place if you hope it does. You've got to help make it happen. And then I think it's probably the most powerful thing out there because people trust the people they know a lot more than they trust, institutions. So advocacy is just absolutely huge and maybe the biggest way to get your brand out there, your message out there, your mission out there, and just your what you want to say to prospects in the community out there.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Dan. And as you were talking, I was talking to our audience on Instagram, which, by the way, we're _WW on there. And we've got Susan Miles watching on there. The API on Instagram is funny. They don't let us show the comments on StreamYard. So, yeah, everything they're saying over there, we can't show here. I put the LinkedIn link, but hopefully we get to, I didn't lose them since they can't engage. But anyway, yeah, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, they all let us share the comments here on the show. So engage and we can see what you're saying. And I just want to check in with the audience. Like, what do y'all think here? What's your take on reverse marketing? What have we not mentioned? What's your opinion here? When have you seen reverse marketing work, not work? I want to hear from you all. I think it's the best way to go. Because if you can get your customers to refer people, then you're in a good spot. So I don't know. Anything? There's Susan Miles over from Instagram. Now on LinkedIn. Hey, no worries. Oh, Susan, so great to see you. Queen, tell us how you are. What are you up to these days? I know she's a seller. This woman, she understands how to make people feel. We were talking about, Susan, earlier, how to make people feel and emotions and why we buy with emotional reasons. Well, she just is able to really peel the onion with people and help them understand why they need your service. So I don't know what you're up to these days, Susan, but I just think the world of you. So everyone should go connect with her. Anyway, AP, wrap us up on this topic of reverse marketing before we move on.
I would say, honestly, to wrap this up, right? If you want to do reverse marketing right, it builds on what we talked about in this conversation, right? The idea of realizing your customers are an essential part of the buyer journey, right? Not just the target of the buyer journey. And number two, understanding that it requires trust, ongoing trust, to even get reverse marketing to work for you. If you don't have those two things, forget it. It's not going to work.
Yep. I hear you there, 100%. Well, let's move into our fourth topic. Drum roll, stop selling solutions, start building ecosystems. So we were talking about not feature dumping earlier. Dan, can you talk to us on this topic and set the stage for it?
Yeah, I love talking about ecosystems. I've written, some content on it. I just think, again, goes back to what I was talking about before. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want to be part of kind of a group that's solving a problem. So if I look back on the biggest sales win of my wins of my career, whether it was an individual salesperson or when I was managing a team, they didn't come from selling a product. They didn't come from selling a service. They came from connecting the dots between teams, between outcomes, shared goals, partners, and bringing that all together. And I think that's the role of sales, marketing, fundraising, is to kind of bring all those different entities and those different needs together and figure out a solution. You've heard this a million times, right? Buyers aren't looking for vendors. They're looking for partners who understand the bigger picture. And everybody likes to talk about solution selling, like that's, the best thing in the world. But to me, still, solution selling, if you think about it, it still puts the spotlight on you, right? I'm selling this solution to you. But if you talk about building ecosystems, that makes it about shared outcomes. And I think your best work happens when you help others see how they fit into a larger purpose. I've always talked about sales, marketing, fundraising as guides, guiding people down a path to a better outcome. And if you think about in B2B, some of these sales cycles have gotten so long, so complex. You've got buying committees. It's just, the last few years in B2B, you could just go insane, right? But think about what's happening there. These businesses you're selling to, they've got multi-stakeholders, and nonprofits are dealing with the same thing. You've got multi-stakeholders. So these businesses have their employees. They might have, if they're public, they've got their boards, they've got their stockholders, they've all got their customers. They've got their own prospects. They've got the communities they exist in, their business partners. They want solutions that take all of that into account, and it's really complex. So if you can be the one that helps connect that whole ecosystem and makes them look valuable to all their different stakeholders, then you're the winner. I mean, that's what puts you on top, and that's how that's how you sell your solution. But that's how you do more than just sell a solution or do a transaction. That's how you build a movement. That's how you kind of build momentum into something that's much bigger.
Yeah.
Than sales, and that's what we should all be striving for. Getting a sale is great. Certainly, I remember individual sales, but getting a customer that you've really helped and really understand their whole world and realizing they're going to be with you for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you're going to grow with them, and they're going to advocate with you, and you're going to gain momentum with them, and they become a huge supporter. That's really what it's about. That's what we strive for, in B2B and in fundraising. So I think that's really the key. Help create this ecosystem, connect this ecosystem for your clients and prospects, and then you've done them just a tremendous, tremendous service.
Yes, such great points. Thank you so much. And thank you, Susan, for her points. I saw her comment earlier that said she just sits with people, during the call rather than feature dumping and solution dumping and saying, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. She sits with them and lets them feel their pain. Sometimes people just need someone to listen. Tell us more about that, Susan, if you're still tuning in. And you're right. These fellas are spot on with with what they're saying. I totally love it. AP, what's your take on all of this?
I would say for me, my brain was thinking two different thoughts, right? The first thought I was thinking of is, right, in a more traditional product sense, when we talk about building ecosystems, right? I think about what are some of the most popular, well-known brands in the world, right? Think Apple, think Samsung, think Google. What do they all have in common, right? They're an ecosystem in and of itself, right? When you walk into Google, when you walk into Apple, right? It's not just, oh, here's a laptop. It's a laptop and a phone and headphones and iCloud. It's all of these products working together in sync to provide a seamless user experience for whoever goes on there. And what you get in, because it's so easy and frictionless, and this is by psychological design, it's very hard to leave, right? So let's think about what that means, right? We know that when we offer solutions to people, right, we're human beings, right? We sure a solution's great in the moment, but we're never gonna live in a world where we have no problems, right? We're never gonna live in a world where one solution is gonna be enough. So that idea, right, and goes back to everything we were talking about earlier, sitting with your customers, listening to them, right? Your customers, honestly, are the best source of what you should be building next. If you are confused on what you should be building as a business, go talk to your best customers, please. They'll happily help you brainstorm some product lines for you to add on to the business. All right. Because they're like,
Yes.
well, actually, I know you're helping with this, but I have XYZ problem as well. Can you guys build that? And I was like, well, actually, I didn't think about building X, Y, and Z. We'll go to the product team and let's see if we can get that built right away, right? And then keep doing that, right? And soon enough, you build a community, right? It's not just you selling individual solutions anymore, folks, right? It's you building a community of solutions, right? Where people can come in, they feel supported as they're growing, right? As they're working through their business, right? And that's how we go that way. So that's the first thought I was having. And the second one, right? When we talk about instead of selling solutions, you know, building those ecosystems, right? What is an ecosystem? When we think about an ecosystem, what is it, right? It's a network. It's a network that's working together in tandem for the members of the network to thrive, right?
Mhm.
I mean, think about any movement, any social movement in history, right? It wasn't lone individuals that made it happen. It was those individuals supported, protected, and nourished by a powerful ecosystem behind them to make it all happen. So when I think about that, right, let's take that logic and apply it to business, right? It's about not just here's the customer, right? Well, let's build a thriving network of people they can talk to if they get stuck, or products we know that they're gonna use and value, and ways they can get connected, right? So that we're supporting them throughout their business. It's not just about selling a solution, it's about plugging them into an environment that we're helping them thrive, no matter what's happening.
Amen. And Susan was saying amen too. Yes, people were cheering you on. Eric was saying yes. People agreed. Yes, listen to your customers, people. Let's pull up that comment again, Layla, if you wouldn't mind, from Peter. It says regarding reverse marketing. So taking us back a second. Before I worked with Boeing, I had to actively pursue candidates. Boeing had a good enough reputation where more than enough applicants would apply and we could get jobs filled by people that applied rather than me having to pursue and convince them to apply. Other big and well-known companies take advantage of reverse marketing in the same way. Yeah, great point, Peter. Any remarks from you, AP or Dan, on this?
Yeah, I mean, Peter's spot on. I mean, first of all, I love what AP said. You're helping them thrive. I think that should be the
Yes,
mantra here. That's
everything
the key.
AP said.
Help them thrive. I don't care what your business is. I don't care if what sector you're in, just what communities you're part of. I mean, if you're helping people thrive, you're winning, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. That's what it's all about. So I love that. In regard to what Peter said, I love it because it's not just about marketing, right? Anytime that you can help connect ecosystems and you've earned trust, like he was talking about there. So that's a great example of candidates were coming to you because of the reputation rather than having to go out and hunt for them. If customers or prospects are coming to you because of what you built, well, man, as a salesperson, that just makes your job so much easier. So I just think, yeah, I think the bar is low today from what I've seen. So I think those that really, truly take the time to build ecosystem, earn trust, and just listen to what customers and prospects are saying are the ones that are going to stand out. And I think that's just so critical. And I think as millennials and Gen Z become more and more of the workforce, that's just going to become exponentially more important.
Yes, because of the trust pandemic, right? We need more reciprocity, which means you listening to your customers and doing things for your customers because they're paying you. Susan says, precisely, Dan, there's plenty to go around. Help one another succeed. And that's why we go into business, right? Because we want to help people. Would love to hear more from the audience on this one, but that was only topic 3. We still got to get to topic 4. So am I right? Did we didn't get to topic 4 yet, did we? No,
that was 4.
That was 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're good on time. All right, great. So then we need to make sure that we make time for the guru of the week. The guru of the week. So drum roll. Let's pull up those gurus. Tell us, why should we go follow these people and who are they? An audience, tag them, follow them, spam them.
All right, I guess I'll go first. So I have my good buddy here, Dr. Brandon Deason, right? Deason and I have known each other for at least 2 years now, since June 2023 on LinkedIn. Right, he is a fantastic dude who's really passionate about helping students be able to succeed in medical school. Right, he works with pre-meds, he works with med students, and him being a med student, a former med student who's managed to get through the process of getting to medical school. Right, he knows inside and out holistically what it's like to get through this program successfully, right? So he's passionate about it. He's skilled at doing it. He worked at Kaplan for like over 10 years, right? So he has that deep level of technical expertise when it comes to building quality systems as well as building great content too. So you or anybody you know knows of someone that's striving to go to medical school or is struggling in medical school and needs some help, talk to this dude. He'll happily help you out.
That's awesome. I got to follow Brandon. Lindsay Carlisle is interesting. So a couple of years before I retired from corporate, I started a newsletter called Monday Night Spotlight. And my whole thing was, as I dove into this whole LinkedIn thing, I was like, wow, there's a lot of voices in sales and marketing that are getting the lion's share of the attention on LinkedIn. And they're all awesome, right? I follow them. I learned a heck of a lot. I still learn from them all, right? And you guys know who they all are. But I was like, there's also a lot of other voices out there that, whether it's the algorithm or whatever it is, they don't get a lot of play. So I started Monday Night Spotlight to spotlight people in sales that really, and I looked at people that had, under X amount of followers, didn't get a lot of engagement, things like that. And I found different people. And Lindsay was one of the first ones that I spotlighted in my newsletter. And I interviewed her, and she had been a teacher, which was near and dear to my heart because my mom, my wife, and my daughter are all teachers. She'd been a teacher. She had also taught like theater, like Shakespeare and stuff like that, and decided to give that up for a lot of reasons and come into sales. And I will certainly back up the fact that teachers have a lot of skill sets that could play well in sales and marketing. I mean, my daughter was a teacher for 6 months when the pandemic hit, and then had to, all of a sudden go online with a bunch of 6-year-olds, kindergartners, and teach them for a year and a half. So yeah, she can handle Zoom meetings, no problem. But Lindsay, why I love her is she is so raw. So she entered the world of SDR work, and she was open on LinkedIn every day about what she was going through and imposter syndrome and all that great stuff. And I really think she helped a lot of people. Then she took a job, as a manager of an SDR team, and it wasn't easy. She didn't have preparation for that. And the reason I would say follow her, she is so raw. She actually just left that job. It wasn't right for her. She's starting something new. I don't even know what it is. It's going to be announced soon. But the reason I would say follow her is if you're in sales or you're just in life, like she is so raw and open about the struggles of trying to balance a career and parenting as a mom and, making that transition from outside the corporate world into the corporate world and how tough sales is, And it's just really helpful to people to read that kind of stuff and not hear that everything's so shiny and wonderful and perfect. So I think she's a great follow. She's funny as all heck, and I think you'll enjoy her.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dan and AP. So Brandon Deason and Lindsay Carlisle. I already tagged them in the comments. I see there are some of you on LinkedIn. So tag them in the comments. Follow them. Diversify your feed. Let them know you saw them as you now have like an entryway to DM them. But yeah, I agree. People like that, Dan, are really the best. So thank you for sharing, Lindsay. And same with you, AP. I really appreciate you with your guru of the week. Ooh. And then, of course, we want to hear from both of you a little bit. We just had, the last 45 minutes of being inspired by you. So tell us a little bit more exactly about you, what you do, who you serve, how you serve them, and if they could be served by you, how could they reach you? AP, kick us off.
All right, let's do it. So a little bit more about me, right? I talked about I was a co-founder, and I'm a co-founder of King of the Curve, right? Been there for 5 years. Been a wild ride, ups and downs, but really on the up and up now. And really what we do, where I get the privilege to do with two brilliant gentlemen of mine, and of course our team that supports us day in and day out, is really being able to build a platform that's forward-thinking, that's adaptive, that's engaging, right? To help students, if whether you're studying for a standardized examination or whether you're studying for AP biology or your honors lit class in high school, we'll help you study for that and help you study in a way that makes sense, right? We're in the 21st century, right? So
That's so
being
cool.
able to just always just use the old-fashioned ways of here's a textbook, here's this, here's that. Students, we all know that students come in different shapes and sizes, right? We know that students come to materials in from a different perspective, right? So building a platform that takes all that into account and more to help them succeed, especially in this day and age, is super important. So that's what we were passionate about building every day. So if you want to find me, I'm on LinkedIn. It's the primary social media platform that I use. Um, King of the Curve, at King of the Curve. I think at King of the Curve on Instagram and at King of the Curve on TikTok to find us to see what we're up to. So if you know of anybody that's a pre-med that's getting ready to study for the MCAT, hit us up. We'll be happy to help them out. So thank you.
That's so cool and good to know. I actually didn't know that King of the Curve was doing all of that. I thought it was just the medical students that you were helping, but you're doing so much more. Thank you so much for sharing, AP. And how about you, Dan? Tell us more about you, who you serve, how you serve them, and if they could be served by you, how do they reach you?
Sure. So, it's funny, as I got more and more into the nonprofit world, I got more and more back into the corporate world, because what I've been doing is really, I think Susan Miles said it before in the comments about how, we're all kind of networkers. I kind of look at myself as someone who's helping make introductions. So I'm helping nonprofits collaborate with other nonprofits. I'm helping social enterprises collaborate with nonprofits. And I'm really working with smaller kind of grassroots nonprofits, whether it's here in the US or international, to forge better corporate and business partnerships. So let's go beyond just sponsorships and writing a check. Let's go beyond, hey, can you pay for our golf outing, or can you buy a seat, at our gala? And let's talk about how we can be true partners in pushing social good. And that, a lot of what's going on in corporate today bodes well for that, because corporations today, when they start thinking about philanthropy, and social impact, they start thinking about employee engagement, volunteering opportunities, advocacy, how to increase, their brand outlook in terms of the values that they stand for. And so I'm trying to kind of be a matchmaker of the right corporations, the right corporate social responsibility kind of officers or leads with the right nonprofits, and bring them together. So my audience, my market is nonprofits, mostly small and mid-size, but I'm working a lot though with social enterprises as well as corporations on the CSR side, corporate social responsibility side, to again build those ecosystems. And you can find me on LinkedIn. I post just about every day. If I'm not posting, I'm there engaging. I subscribe to what Jesse says. Before you post, get on and engage for a half hour genuinely with people. Stick around after that for another half hour and engage with people truly on their content. That's how I've grown my business. That's how I've grown my network. And right now I'm just enjoying life. I'm doing the things I love: photography, volunteering, travel, family. But also I love the fact that I'm able to help people who are helping others. Like, I know Matt Fogarty's on this call. I fell in love with Cherry Willow because of Matt and Shauna and how passionate they are about supporting the unhoused. And so I just wanted to be a part of that. And I get to do things like that on a daily basis and meet these amazing change makers. So connect with me. I'm always happy to talk business, to talk sales, to talk life, to talk dogs, whatever you want. I just like meeting good people.
You heard it right here, to talk dogs.
Yeah.
And Susan, you're right. They're so great. And by the way, both of you have been super supportive of me. So thank you so much. And both of you are in the community, the WinsDay winners. And so, Susan, I want to invite you to be there. I don't normally do this, but we do filter the people who join on this WhatsApp group. I just dropped the link in the LinkedIn chat. If you want to join, you know the drill. Put it on mute, drop your LinkedIn URL. People will connect with you. Let them know what you're up to. You're a mindset coach, Susan. That's so cool. Tell us more. And WinsDay winners, I have the Women Wave group, but the WinsDay winners is co-ed. So now we can bring all these kings in to share their information and, all the stuff they're up to. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, Susan, it's been super fun having you in the comments as well. And same with Nina and everyone else who's been chiming in. DJ, always great to see you here. Erica, thank you so much for being here. There's so many people. But it's been a great episode. Thank you all for tuning in. We got the Guru of the Week. We heard about you. So the last thing we got to do before we wrap up is just let you know about next week. Next week, as you know, we're back every week here on WinsDay. So we've got another great episode. Tyler, Lubin, and Zachary. Oh boy. Rishitatelli, Managing Director at Real Fig Advertising. And then we've got Weaponizing Data and Intelligence. So that's going to be an interesting conversation next week. I hope you can all come back and tune in. Otherwise, we've got lots of clients going live on LinkedIn now too. So if there's other live shows you want to tune in, come join the WinsDay winners and see sort of the network of shows that we're putting out. But yeah, Susan, she's like, I can't click on the website. Like maybe you have to copy and paste it. I can, I'll send it to you in WhatsApp. Maybe that will be easier, Susan. But yeah, I digress. I really appreciate you being here, Susan, and Dan and AP. Thank you for staying up late with us on another WinsDay. Cheers to WinsDay. And with that, we'll wrap up. Thank you, Layla, for
Cheers, everyone.